What's going on, family? David Shands here, and you are tuned into A Seat at the Table.
All right, everybody, welcome back to A Seat at the Table. We have a very, very special guest today. I'm Rashad Milligan. We are joined by Mr. David Shands from the Social Proof Podcast. David, Mr. Shands, how are you doing today, sir?
I am amazing. I could not be any better. Well, maybe I could be better, but I could be worse. So I'm grateful for all that's going on in my life right now. So I'm happy to be here, man. Thanks for the invite.
No problem. And thank you for coming on, spending some time with us this morning. Speaking of like that well thought out answer of how are you doing? I want to go with that. Like you were talking about the other day, just about, how important it is for you to remain transparent and open with your audience about how you're truly feeling and everything. So people don't put you on this imaginary pedestal and stuff like that. This past weekend, you had the recording, which is probably going to come out in a couple of weeks, of having an entire podcast about this is not about business, an entire conversation, an event about it not being business. Just how important are those things to remember the human elements in the midst of the grind?
Well, I don't think your grind or the project that you're working on will be okay if you aren't. You know what I mean? So I think the more healthy you are, more personally developed you are, the better the thing that you're working on becomes. So I think it's important to have conversations that aren't about business, because it's not the business that grows the business. It's the people that grow the business, and the people have to be okay to grow the business. So yes, it's vital, man.
I wanted to ask you about what role do you think extensionalism plays in entrepreneurship? I feel like that's kind of a theme in a lot of your podcast episodes when you're talking to people, of just like a lot of people are like, I want to have something I can hand down through my family and everything. They kind of want something that lasts longer than they will. What role do you think extensionalism plays in the pursuit of entrepreneurship?
All right, so I don't know what extensionalism means. You got to explain.
Extensionalism is it's the philosophy behind understanding that life is going to end. That, and then it's kind of like almost freaking out in a way about like my life is going, not freaking out, but just having that reality of I'm only here for a max of 100 years, and I would like something that will last beyond this 100 years, so I have some type of impact. That's extensionalism. That's kind of like the
Oh,
study, the philosophy of
I got you. You went to college, huh?
it. I did.
Smart, golly. Um, I do not believe that we will be here another 100 years, if I'm being honest. I mean, you talk to any scientist, they will tell you that the world's not really going to be able to sustain itself much longer. And maybe this world wasn't designed to do all the things that are happening right now. But past that, I am a real big believer in the Bible and all the things it has to say about what happens when we're here, but what happens when we leave. So the all the things that we're chasing in terms of wanting to pass down a legacy, and maybe it's not the most popular opinion, but I think it's meaningless. It's countless. I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to be here like what, a max of 70, 80 years, right? But what matters is what happens after. So if we spend more time focusing on what's going to happen and where we go after this life, I think we'll understand how like meaningless a lot of the things that we're doing are, right? So I would spend my whole life trying to get to some money, right? But ask most people that after you get the thing that you've been chasing forever, does it feel like you thought it would feel before you got it? And most of them will tell you no. So I think some people who don't have their dream are in a better mental space or position than people that do, because at least you have something to look forward to. They say you shouldn't meet your idols, right? Because the experience isn't going to be what you think it's going to be like. So you're actually in a better position not meeting them. Same thing with money, success, things of that nature. I mean, I can look at some years that I was happier or in a better emotional or mental space before all the things that were acquired, because that comes with responsibility. So I don't know. I don't put too much into it's called extensionalism or extensionalism. Extension.
You said it right.
Okay.
Extensionalism.
Yeah. I'm not a big advocate. We need to do what we need to do while we're here, so that we can have uh, things later, not for this earth.
Another easy way I just could have put it is like the belief or the thinking ism of existence. Kind of simple way to put it. I kind of went around the world with it. I do want to ask you, just with sleep is for suckers. With that grind mode, like there's a YouTube video every single day, every single morning, and it's something that you bring up and everything like that. I just want to ask you with that, and then kind of going back to the first question of your well-being, how do you kind of balance that out of making sure that you are maintaining your peace, your mental, and everything like that, but you're also like, I'm working harder than everybody. Like sleep is for certain. Like I'm doing this every single while you're sleeping. I'm premiering another YouTube video for the day. Like how do you kind of balance those two things?
Um, well, I mean, you put together systems. So on your end, you see, wow, he's producing a video every day. Well, on my end, I mean, like we record once a week, like Wednesdays. Now I'll do a call in the morning, but I mean, everybody's going to do something in the morning. That's just a part of my morning routine. I get on the morning meetup and I teach a lesson and I get off. Then I got like the rest of my day to do whatever I'm going to do. Behind the scenes, I have a team of people who their job is when they get up, they come take the video and upload it on YouTube. So it's not as I don't grind as hard as I used to, but I'm looking to do like bigger things, if that makes sense, right? I'm using more like mental capacity than I am physical now. But when I first started, I was a heavy believer in like, yo, I can't sleep. I gotta work, I gotta grind. And it worked, right? In that space, it actually worked. But now as I have 3 children, I have a wife, I have a family I need to take care of. It's not all about grinding. And then as I grow, again, as we talked about in my spiritual walk, I just realized the things that we're building now, they're not even going to mean anything. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and we were talking about Dr. Martin Luther King, who has done so much for our people. But people don't even think about Martin Luther King until Martin Luther King Day. And then they don't think about Martin Luther King. It's not like they watch old videos. They cook out and hang out with their friends and take the day off of work. Nobody's thinking about Martin Luther King. So you spend this time to create a legacy, and we think that people are going to hail us forever when it just doesn't work that way, right? So I do my best to spend time with my family, and I'm doing my best to take care of my mental health.
Right, right. And a question that I always ask people is like, name one person from 1023. And that is just kind of like how
Right.
it alleviates so much off of you from the day-to-day stresses that we have. I want to ask you about the white background on your podcast. Like throughout the different studios and everything like that. What was the importance of consistency to you with the presentation of the podcast?
I mean, it's all we had. Like that's where we recorded. So people look like, yo, it's cheese. You had the white. So with the white background, y'all just pop. And it's more about y'all. And it was really, that was the background that we had. We were just shooting, right? So, I mean, I got a new studio and we painted the wall a particular color, but I was like, let's go back to white of what we had. So I don't want people to I don't want people to like get discouraged and say and like overthink saying, oh, wow, I have to have a consistent background. The most important thing is to be consistent that you're producing. The most genius thing that we did wasn't the aesthetics. It wasn't the name of the show. It was the fact that we did it every single week. And not until I decided, yo, I'm never going to skip a week, that's when it worked. That's when like people started tuning in because my audience could trust me now. Right. So if I say I'm going to release a podcast every Monday and one Monday I'm off out of the month, they can't trust me anymore. They were looking forward to it. I had their trust and then I broke it. So just being consistent in whatever you're doing, that's the biggest component, not necessarily the aesthetics.
Consistency is the only cheat code.
It's the only one, bro.
I want to kind of like take a little left right here and ask you about business. For Black business in particular, and not even just business, but just Black individuals. What are 5 tips, wealth building tips you can give the Black community for 2023?
5 wealth building tips I can give the Black community. Really good question. One, don't spend everything you make. It's just huge. Don't spend everything you make. 2, monitor where the money goes. Just take a look at the end of the month. Don't just be left with, oh, I don't have any more. Ever get a paycheck and then you get a paycheck Friday, and by like Wednesday, you're waiting for the next Friday check, but you don't know where that check went. You don't know. I mean, you know, you paid some bills, but it's not like you can. So I'm saying, just be mindful of watching where the money goes. 2, make more. I mean, 3, make more. I think that'd be important to figure out a way that you can make more than you're making. And not everyone needs to be an entrepreneur, although I encourage that. But there's a way to have a job and make more. Like you should be thinking of what is the next promotion? What is the next step? Or if that next promotion is going to be too much for your own mental sanity, right? We need to figure out what I can do in my current position to make more. Or we take the money and we put it into something that helps to make more. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, but you need to consider making more. 4, I don't think any of this works if we're not personally developing, meaning reading books on finances or reading books on understanding how money works or how we can make some more money. We just have to develop ourselves. And 5, identify your bad habits, because there are probably some things that you do on a regular basis with your money that are toxic, or just noticing that every Friday you go out to have drinks with your friends. Doesn't make your life any better. It might be cool, it might be a fun time, but like you're literally drinking your wealth. And that's a sad scenario to drink your wealth away. So whatever your bad habits are, just notice them. I'm not saying to stop the bad habits. I'm sure I have some as well. Thank God I don't have any vices, but just start to notice. And I think if we just have more conversations around money and wealth, that's the first step to becoming a little in a better position than you are right now.
David, I guess, as we come to the final minutes of this, we just, obviously this is a seat at the table. We're talking about kind of making the Black community closer to equitable to the rest of society in America and stuff like that. And what you have done as a self-made multimillionaire to build a multi-million dollar podcast, to build the creative studio that you all have, built, that I've had the pleasure of visiting this past weekend, and to just do some of the things you do. We want to give you your flowers. For the people who might not be as familiar with your come up in your story, just kind of give them a quick synopsis of who David Shands is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can give me my flowers by putting me on the cover. Let me get a cover. How do I get on the cover of Roll It Out? You know what I mean? If you, I'm just saying, if you want to
I'll
get
talk to some people. Talk to some. We'll talk to some people. See what we can make happen.
Talk to a person that talks to a person. Okay, let's make that happen. Yeah. So I mean, real quick story. Grew up in New Jersey, wanting to play basketball because that's who I saw. Like I wanted to be just like Allen Iverson. My favorite basketball player was Reggie Miller, and I just went out and hooped every day, and I became a good basketball player. And then I got exposed to some other stuff like business and things of that nature. So my whole life I was trying to figure out a way to make some money. And I was just always hustling. And I worked at the Cheesecake Factory for 6 years. I went from Applebee's to working at Olive Garden to working at the Cheesecake Factory for 6 years. 3.5 years into that 6 years at the Cheesecake Factory, I started a t-shirt brand called Sleep Is for Suckers. And 2.5 years later, I I just left my job and opened up a kiosk in the mall. Just took a bet on myself. That was 2012, 2013. I opened a second kiosk in the same mall. So we had two kiosks in the same mall. 2014, I opened a store in South DeKalb Mall, the Sleepers for Sucker store. That was a huge accomplishment. 2014, the same year, the mall took my store and gave it to a bigger retail facility. That same year is when I had more time after I lost my store to write my book. So I wrote a book, and that is the year I went on tour. I think 2015. After writing the book, I guess I became a speaker, because once you write a book, you're a speaker now. I went on tour with E.T., I believe, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. Shouts out to the big homie, really. Him and CJ took a chance on me. 2015, I'm on tour with him, E.T., CJ, Inky Johnson, Jeremy Anderson, Willie Moore Jr. It was a phenomenal, phenomenal tour. And just 2016, 17, 18, I'm doing events. 2019, I'm doing my biggest event, and I decided to call it Social Proof, which is that logo right there. And built the podcast around the event. 2020 did well. 2021 did well. 2022 did well. And we just continue to work. So that's like my whole story in a quick little synopsis, man. But one of the top podcasts in the country in business. I'm really, really proud of that. We get to highlight people that are amazing, that deserve to be highlighted. And also, I get an opportunity to build amazing relationships with people. We just plan on doing some really big things this year.
And a podcast mentioned, none the least, of rolling out 2022 top podcasts. So yeah,
Oh,
but
wow.
yes.
Amazing.
But I want to ask you, kind of wrapping up. You have the morning meetup, everything. Just how can people connect with you? What are some things you have going? How can people tap in and kind of join your community?
Absolutely. One is definitely subscribe to the Social Proof podcast. Go to your Apple or Spotify device, and wherever you listen to podcasts, actually hit the follow button on your podcast device. That would help so much. If you want to go to extra mile, there we go. There we go. If you want to go to extra mile, you can give us a 5-star review. You want to go to extra mile, you got an extra 30 seconds in your life, write a review. We really, really appreciate it. But we have built the most amazing entrepreneurial community in the world called the Morning Meetup. Every single morning, Monday through Friday, we are coaching, teaching hundreds of entrepreneurs on a live Zoom call. We meet up every single morning, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have probably one of the biggest book clubs any community can have. We're reading the book together. We have a schedule. This day, we're all reading the same book, and then the same chapter of the book. And the next day, we discuss what we learned in the chapter. It is just a strong community. We have accountability. I have my podcast course, and I got a bunch of courses and content in our community that's exclusive for the community. I do exclusive community events, and it's only $79 a month or $399 for the year. So I can guarantee that you get 100 times your investment back just being in a community. And I think I have some things to share that have helped a whole lot of people. So yeah, themorningmeetup.com. We have an app, the Morning Meetup app, on Apple or iOS, or Android. Apple and iOS, same thing. iOS.
Yeah. iOS is
Android,
Apple,
yeah.
and then
Whatever phone you
Android
got,
with
you
Google
can
Play.
download this app, The Morning Meetup. So thank you so much for rolling out. I appreciate this interview.
Well, and thank you for stopping by once again. Rashad Milligan, seat at the table. David Shands. Until next time, you all take care of yourself.